Creating your first YouTube video has never been easier. Today, I'll walk you through it step by step, and by the end of this video, you'll feel more confident and ready to film your first YouTube video with just an iPhone. A common obstacle that a lot of beginners struggle with when starting out is thinking that they need this really big, expensive camera setup to film high quality videos. Even if they have that big fancy camera setup, they don't necessarily know how to use that camera or how to make a quality image. By using an iPhone, we could take a lot of that guesswork out of the equation and just get started on that great idea that you had. If you have these questions in your head of, is an iPhone high enough quality? Well, the image that you're seeing right now is shot on my iPhone 11 Pro Max. So it's not even the latest and greatest. It's just the camera that I had in my pocket and we're using it today. Let's get started by taking a look at the camera settings that we should use to get the highest quality image out of our iPhones. The first thing that we're gonna do is jump into our settings. We'll scroll down and click on camera. Here we'll be able to access the different features of the camera. The first setting that we're going to adjust is our video frame rate and resolution. The ones I like for social media content are going to be 1080p at 30 frames per second, 4K at 24 frames per second, or 4K at 30 frames per second. Today we're going to stick to 4K at 24 frames per second. Talking about these settings more in depth can be a video all on its own, but all you need to know for now is that 4K at 24 frames per second is going to give you the highest quality natural looking footage. Next, we'll make sure that the lock camera feature is turned on so that way the camera doesn't switch between lenses while recording. Let's also make sure that the lock white balance feature is also turned on. By having your white balance locked off, you'll be able to get more accurate colors. I personally like to use one of these. This right here is a gray card. This is pure white, pure black, and what it allows me to do is go into my editing software, and with a simple click I could get accurate colors. If you were to just let your white balance do whatever it wants, it'll make your videos look a little bit less professional. For example, just take a look at the way that the colors are shifting from cool to warm on the screen right now. By having the white balance locked off, you'll be able to get accurate colors and your content's just going to look that much more professional. Back to our main camera menu, we're going to go ahead and dive into our slow motion feature next. We're going to select 1080p at 120 frames per second. This is going to give us nice buttery smooth slow motion video if we decide to use it. Next, we're going to get into the file formats. I like to select most compatible since I know I'm going to be editing the footage in a third-party video editor. Now let's click on our preserve settings. Luckily, Apple does a good job at explaining what each of these settings controls, so I won't be diving too much into each one, but basically by having these toggles turned on, it'll save your settings and it'll make shooting an overall easier experience. Here are the last few settings that you should pay attention to. Under composition, make sure that your grid and level is turned on and go ahead and match the rest of these settings to your iPhone. When it comes to camera settings, there are third-party apps that will allow you to have full manual control over your iPhone. We're not going to cover that in this video. I'm trying to keep it simple and just get you started. But let me know if that's something you might be interested in. Comment down below, and if there's a demand for it, I'll make some type of advanced iPhone YouTube video tutorial. Now that we have your camera set up for success, let's get into the shot setup along with framing and composition. When deciding where to film your video, there's a few things to keep in mind. The first thing is going to be your background. Now in the shot that you're seeing right now, I decided to go with a plain backdrop along with a background light, and I think it works pretty well for these talking head educational style videos. But you could totally use a home office, living room, or even shoot outdoors. A common mistake beginners run into is shooting a little bit too close to their background. By positioning yourself too close to the wall, you're eliminating any sense of depth within the image. And I don't know if it's just me, but when I see that kind of image, I get this sense of claustrophobia. Things are a little bit too close, so by putting yourself at least 4 feet away from the wall behind you, you're going to be able to create that sense of depth, and it'll make for a more interesting, professional looking image. The second common mistake that beginners make when working with their background is having a mess in the background. The more things that there are in the background means the greater the chance that the viewer will get distracted. And typically when you're talking to the camera, you want the viewer to focus on what you're saying and not on what's in the background. The last thing I'll remind you to keep in mind when deciding which background to go with is going to be the lighting. Now, we're going to talk about lighting later in this video, but for now, what I want you to keep in mind is, are we going to be working with natural lighting? Do we have a nice big window to position ourselves in front of? Or if we're in a cave, are we going to have to introduce artificial lighting? More on that later, but just keep it in mind for now. With our background figured out, let's transition to framing and composition. Framing and composition simply refers to how the shot is set up. To help out with this process, I suggest turning on the grid feature on your phone. And what this will do is split up your screen into thirds, so that way you can have a better idea of how to balance out your shot. For a majority of your needs, you can't really go wrong with having a symmetrical shot, meaning that the things on the left side of the screen match the right. Next, we're going to dive into lighting. If you're just getting started, using natural lighting is completely fine. All you need to do is find a nice big window, position yourself in front of it, and make sure that the light is on your face. If you're filming inside the house, I recommend maybe turning off some of the background lights. Typically, when using a window, the lighting coming in is a little bit cooler than the warm lights in your house. Also, when it comes to lighting, lighting can reveal and it can also conceal. By having the light shine just on you, you're going to be able to draw the viewer's focus on you instead of the background. And if you're in a position where natural lighting doesn't really work for you and it's not really an option, you can always bring in artificial lighting. The first light that I want to introduce you to is this LED panel. It's actually the light that I'm using to brighten up the background of this video. It's great because it's nice and strong. However, it doesn't have any diffusion. And what that means is that the light is harsh. Harsh lighting isn't necessarily known to be flattering. It causes really strong shadows and it can actually highlight some of the flaws in people's skin. If this is the only type of lighting that you have to work with, you can still get a quality image out of it. All you would have to do is add some type of layer of diffusion in between the light and your subject. So this could be a range of things going from a grocery bag to a sheet to a shower curtain, really anything that will filter the light and prevent it from being so harsh. The next lighting option that you've probably heard of is a ring light. Ring lights are great because they can be relatively affordable, especially if you're just starting out. A common mistake that beginners run into is positioning the light right in front of their face. Now, this could work great for something like a makeup tutorial, but for a majority of other people, I don't necessarily recommend the ring light to be used in this way. As you can see in this example, when the ring light is positioned right in front of my face, it really flattens everything out and there's not any interesting shadows on my face. And personally, I just don't find this type of lighting flattering for my face and my facial features. However, we can still make this ring light work by simply moving it 45 degrees to either my left or my right, moving it a little bit above eye level, adjusting the angle to come down onto my face. We now have a better lighting setup. The shadows on my face are now a little bit more flattering. As I mentioned earlier, lighting reveals and it conceals. And in this case, the light is bringing attention to my eyes and my cheekbones, and the shadows are taking focus away from under my chin and kind of making my face look a bit more slimmer, which is the type of lighting setup I prefer for these talking head videos. And the last setup that I want to talk about is this one that I'm using right now. This is definitely on the more professional end of things. It's a bit more pricey, but I think the quality really speaks for itself. So let me give you the rundown. I'm currently using a professional video light, the Aperture Amaran 200D. The reason it's on the pricier side of the different lights that I've showed you in this video is because it's significantly stronger and the quality that comes out of it, meaning that the whites are actually white, is pretty high. I'm not just blasting that light straight at my face, again, because that would create what's called harsh lighting, but instead I'm using a diffuser called a parabolic softbox. And again, what this does is it softens the shadows around my face and it makes for a more flattering image. I'm also using a grid, and what that does is it directs the light straight at me instead of spilling onto my background. This is what it looks like with the grid on, and this is what it looks like with the grid off. As you can see, the colors on the background aren't as strong as they were with the grid on. When it comes to the placement of the light, I prefer this setup. Yeah, really quick, I'm just gonna pause it right there. I don't know if you were able to tell, but that last clip was out of focus. And as I'm going through this edit, I realized the rest of this video is actually out of focus and I'm about halfway through it. So I'm gonna share with you what happened, how to avoid it, and go ahead and re-record the rest of this video. When I was halfway done recording this video, I took a break for lunch, and when I came back, I think this is what I did wrong. Filming with an iPhone allows you to lock the focus. You could access this feature by pressing and holding down on the screen Now the focus is going to be locked on the light panel behind me or the screen behind me. I think this is what happened when filming last time and why the camera didn't focus on my face. But while I have you here, I might as well share this feature more in depth. As I showed you, you could lock your focus on whatever you want to on the screen. You can also access and control the brightness. By dragging your finger up, you can brighten up the screen, or by dragging it down, you could darken the screen. Another feature I access frequently while recording is the exposure lock. To access this feature, you swipe your screen, hit the exposure button, and again, you can either brighten up the image or darken it. I personally like to have it at -0.3, so that way the highlights or the bright parts of the image aren't too bright. We also have quick access to change the resolution and frame rate in the corner of the screen. We could switch between 4K and 1080 and change our frame rate as well. For this video, we're gonna change it back to 4K and keep it at 24 frames per second. Now that the camera's set up how I like it, let's jump back to the video. I think it's worth noting that mistakes like the one that you just saw are bound to happen when recording, whether it's an iPhone or a fancier camera setup. As I was saying, the way I like to position my lighting is 45 degrees to either the left or right. I like to raise it above eye level, angle it down, and that way it can create these nice shadows that I talked about earlier. I think another thing that's worth mentioning is the confidence that comes with having a good looking image. Feeling good about your setup and the way that I feel about this setup right here really helps me to get rid of any self-doubt, and hopefully that confidence comes across as I'm talking to you right now. Now that we have lighting figured out, let's move on to audio. I'll start out by talking about the setup I'm currently using, and it's this microphone right here. This is what's called a lavalier microphone, and a part of why it sounds so good is because it's so close to my voice. You could definitely plug this microphone straight into your iPhone. All you would need is an adapter, but for my setup, I plug it into the Rode Wireless Go. Because the microphone is so close to my voice, it does a good job at eliminating any background noise. Background noise meaning like car traffic, maybe your refrigerator is really loud, or you have your AC going, maybe there's some noisy neighbors. It does a really good job at isolating your voice. One of the reasons I like this microphone is because there's no cords involved. I could get up, move around the scene, and not have to worry about tripping over anything. So this might be a really good option if you are a fitness influencer, moving around the gym, not having to worry about your audio situation. With this setup, the microphone is plugged into the transmitter. The transmitter could also be used as a microphone, and the receiver is plugged into my phone. It is a bit on the pricier side, but I think the quality speaks for itself. For example, this is the microphone and what it sounds like. And this is what the audio would sound like if I was recording straight to my iPhone. As you can probably tell, the audio quality isn't as good. If you're just starting out, this audio setup might be out of your budget range. So again, you could always plug in a lav mic straight into your iPhone, and that's gonna be a cheaper option for you. You might even come across some lower priced wireless microphones, like this one right here. This is the price. Let's compare this microphone to the one that you're hearing right now. I'm gonna try to position this about the same as the microphone I've been using. Let me know what you think in the comments. Does it sound better? Does it sound worse? Can you notice a difference? For most people, maybe they won't notice. One thing to note about this microphone is that you can't really plug anything else into it. This is the microphone that you have, the one that I'm holding right now. This is what you would clip to your shirt, and again, this is what it sounds like. You could also move this microphone closer to your mouth for maybe a better audio experience, but I don't know. I like talking with my hands. Let's switch back to my main audio setup. At the end of the day, any effort that you put into bettering your audio experience, I think your viewers will appreciate. Take a podcast, for example. For the most part, podcasts don't have any visuals, but they're able to attract fans by having a good audio experience. And on the flip side, you could have the best visuals possible, you could have the fanciest camera, but if your audio experience is absolutely miserable, your viewers probably won't stick around to watch the video. Another question that beginners might have is about third-party lenses. These are lenses that you could attach to your iPhone to create different looks, whether it's a super wide image or a more zoomed in look. And I want to tell you right now that you absolutely do not need any of these lenses to get started. All you need is your phone, and there's a pretty good chance that you're watching this video on that phone right now. So at this point in the video, we have your camera settings dialed in. We've got your background framing and composition figured out, lighting check, audio check, And now I just want to share a few last tips to wrap up this video. When using your iPhone, I recommend using the lenses and the camera on the back of your iPhone. I know it's nice to be able to see yourself when recording, but typically the main camera on the back of the phone is the highest quality one you have. What does this look like practically? Well, I frame up my shot with my iPhone, I press record, I sit in front of the camera, do a quick little test, then I'll go review the footage and make sure that the framing is the way I like it. And once I have all of that dialed in, I could sit in front of the camera and go through my whole video. And don't forget to press record, which is something that I still struggle with today. If you have an ultra wide lens on your phone, I recommend staying away from it just because it doesn't do a great job in low light conditions. Using the normal lens or the telephoto lens, like the lens that I'm using right now at 2x, is a good option for your YouTube videos. You'll probably also need a tripod. Any cheap one will do. You don't need a super fancy $1,000 tripod, and if you didn't know those exist, yeah, they exist and they get pretty pricey. Just buy a cheap tripod with a phone mount and you'll be good to go. Now that you have your first YouTube video done, it's time to dive into editing. That's gonna be a whole deep dive video on its own, so feel free to subscribe and check out that video as well. Now, I don't know about you, but I am so grateful to live in a time where creating high quality content is accessible to pretty much everyone. If you have any questions about the gear that I mentioned in this video, I'll be sure to link everything in the description below. Feel free to show some love. It actually helps the channel and it encourages me to continue making videos like the one that you watched today. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.